Whenever you do interviews with someone for your podcast, you need to be the expert. You need to be the one who's in control, helping them to do what's needed to get the very best sound possible for your podcast. You want to approach it in a way that highlights the benefit you want it to be to them. You want to present them well. You want them to sound great. You want your audience to hear every single knowledge bomb and nugget of gold that they have to share. So this set of videos is aimed at helping you step by step do what I call a tech check. It's the things you need to check with your guest before you hit record to enable them to help you get the very best sound possible for your interviews. Now, all of this is assuming you're using some sort of distance recording platform to record their side of the conversation along with your side of the conversation. If you're doing this in person, live in the same room together, that's going to be a whole different ball of wax. We'll have to address that in a different video. Now, when you start doing this tech check, you're going to use two things primarily. You're going to use your eyes and you're going to use your ears, okay? If you're on a video sort of a call like Zoom or Skype where you can actually see the other person, Squadcast provides a video so you can see the other person as well. You want to use your eyes to look at their setting, their surroundings, and address the very first issue, which is the room that they're recording in. Okay, if you look around and you see they're in a big glass-walled conference room, you're going to get pretty bad sound. You'll also be able to hear that you're getting kind of a roomy echo. You want to decide, I guess, if you want to address that. If it's a high-profile guest and that's the only place they can record, you may want to let that slide and just get what you can out of them. But if you can at all ask them, is there another room they can go to, like an office or someplace more quiet, a living room, or even a walk-in closet is the best studio I've ever used. Someplace where it's going to be soft and it's going to absorb sound. Don't be afraid to ask at least. You never know if they can change until you ask. If they can, it's a 2-3 minute delay in your recording process and you're able to get right to it. So the first thing you want to do is assess the room they are in. If you're not in a video situation, you want to listen. And if you hear some sort of room echo or big kind of cavernous sound, you want to ask them about the room they're in and then address it as best you can. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to help them ensure that they have selected the right mic for the recording platform. Now, every recording platform is going to be different. There's Skype, there's Zoom, there's Zencastr, there's CleanFeed, there's Squadcast. There's all kinds of recording platforms out there, and every one of them is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to pause here for a moment and walk through those options that I mentioned in terms of showing you on video what you need to do to help your guest set up their microphone, their headphones, all those things properly. All right, this is me actually in the Zoom platform. When your guest is in the Zoom platform, you need to go right down here to this bottom left, and you'll need to instruct them to do this as well, and have them click on this arrow next to the microphone. And you see they're going to have two sections here to select the microphone that they want to use. I'm using my Rode Podcaster. And then you also want them to select the speakers. And this headphones can be a little confusing. See here it says Rode Podcaster. That's because my Rode has some audio functionality to it. But what they typically want is their speaker. And if they have headphones plugged in, which they should, it will go through that speaker sound card. So that's how Zoom is set up. You need to know this to walk your guests through it. Okay, to set up Skype, you need to come up here to the top left where the three dots are, click Settings, and then you're going to go down here on the left-hand side to Audio and Video. You want to click on that, leave this however it is, and then here is where you'll select your microphone. Notice I've got my desktop microphone Rode Podcaster selected, which is the proper one. And then under Speakers, again, you want it to be selected to Speakers. Once all that is done, you can just click out of this, and you are good to go for Skype. Okay, this is inside of Zencastr. You will already be in your session here. You will come over to this cog on the right-hand side, click on it, and it is going to have some drop-downs for you. Your default audio input, you want to make sure you've got the right microphone selected. And then on your audio output, you want to make sure speaker is selected. Now remember, you're walking your guest through this. So notice where things are located. Then you click the Save settings, and you're good to go in Zencastr. Alrighty, this is inside Clean Feed. You and your guest both will have a track that looks like this. Your guest will be right down here below. And you're going to use this cog icon on the right-hand side. It'll provide this drop down. And what you're doing here is selecting your microphone. So you're going to click on this drop down and choose the proper microphone. In my case, it's this desktop microphone, Rode Podcaster. Okay. And then you are good. You can click the icon again. It will get rid of the drop down and you are good to go in Clean Feed. Okay, now this is the desktop inside of Squadcast. And Squadcast is a little different because it's really cool. When it first pulls you into Squadcast, it pulls you up in what's called the green room. And it gives you all these settings right here for you to choose at the beginning. So you're going to choose your proper microphone, which mine was already selected. That's nice. You're then going to choose your proper speakers. Mine was already selected. That's nice. And you also get the opportunity to choose your camera. So I'm going to switch that over because my particular camera that it's showing was not my best camera, as you can see right there. So then you're going to click Join Session after that's done. It's really pretty simple in Squadcast. All right, the next thing you want to do is on every one of those platforms, you need to check their levels. Now, again, you're going to use your ears and your eyes for this one. You're going to watch on the platform. Most of them will have this little jumping meter thing, and I'll show you that in a moment for all the different platforms that I've already mentioned. And you're also going to listen. Can you hear them clearly? Sometimes that's an issue of needing to get them closer to their microphone. Now, notice where I'm at right now. I put my microphone kind of to the side of my mouth and a little bit below, and I speak across it. If your guest is too far away from their mic, so you can hear on my voice right now as I back away from the mic, what happens? I need to make sure my guest is close enough to the mic. Now, it's going to differ depending on the type of microphone they're using. If they're only using the mic that's built into their computer, my advice is that you abandon ship. You record that some other way and you get them some sort of external mic. Now, I have clients who send their guests a little external mic, either in a postage paid return envelope so they can send it back, or as a gift. Here's a couple of options for you. Now, this is called the ATR 2005. It's a USB microphone and an XLR microphone. So let's see, right over there is the mini USB, and then this big round one is called an XLR. This mini USB is going to enable them to plug directly into their computer. And this is a really good mic. There's a younger brother of this one called an ATR 2100. ATR is Audio-Technica, but ATR 2100 is a silver-looking mic, has a round head, and it works really great as well. It's a little bit less expensive than this one. There's also one called a Samson Q2U, same thing, USB microphone, that can be sent. They're $60, $70 for those kinds of mics. Now, here's another option for you. This one is not the best solution, but it actually is one that'll work. This is a lavalier mic. You know, you pin to your shirt like this. And believe it or not, it too is a USB, can plug directly into the computer. Now, this particular brand is called Fifine, F-I-F-I-N-E, Fifine, and it costs $14, $16 on Amazon. I've known of clients who will purchase that, send it to the guest, and tell them to keep it as a gift. Now, isn't that a cool way to tell your guest thank you for being on your show? Okay, now let's talk about levels. Most of the platforms are going to show you some sort of meter that jumps when a person speaks. And you want to watch that. Make sure you're getting signal from that person so that when they speak, it actually is jumping. Because if it's not, that means there's something wrong with your microphone setup that you just did, or that they're not close enough to their mic just in terms of distance. So you want to check that. Let's look at all the different platforms, and we'll take a look at what that looks like in each one. All right, on Zencastr, if you notice, this line right here is jumping around, which means that as I'm speaking, it is registering my voice. Once the guest is on, they will have a track that looks just like this, and theirs should be jumping around just like theirs as well. Now, once you hit the record button, you'll notice that a little waveform starts appearing. And that is how you can tell if your voice or your guest's voice is being recorded accurately. Your guest track will be right here below, and you will see the same sort of thing happening for them. Now in Clean Feed, you notice the meter is right here on the left-hand side. Both in your track and on your guest track, there will be a meter like this. When you start recording, a central channel will appear that will have one for you and one for your guest. Okay, on Squadcast, you will see your voice sound jumping up and down right here on the right-hand side. All right, now the next thing you want to do with your guest is you want to ensure that they are using either these headphones or these earbuds. All right, because you do not want their voice coming, or your voice rather, coming out of their computer speakers and coming back into their microphone. That's going to cause all kinds of weirdness in your recording. So make sure they've got their earbuds. Make sure they've got their headphones. Now think about this though. If you're on a platform like Clean Feed, for example, that does not use video, you're not going to be able to see if they have earbuds or headphones. So you need to make sure you ask them, are you using headphones or earbuds? If they say no, ask them, do you have a set of earbuds you can go grab real quickly, plug in so that you can hear my voice in your ear rather than through your speakers? If you need to explain why, feel free to do that. The more your guests understand the process, the more they're going to be willing to comply with you in making sure they do a good job in getting a good recording. Okay, the next thing you want to do is help your guest turn off all their noisemakers. I'm going to give you a quick list here of things you want to remind them to turn off so that you don't have any unnecessary noises coming in on your recording on their side. Okay, you want to turn off cell phone notifications. Easiest way to do this is either mute the cell phone or put it on airplane mode. Easy peasy. Next thing is you want to turn off all computer browsers. Now, the reason I say all computer browsers besides the one they're using to record is because you'll have email notifications, Slack notifications, Facebook Messenger notifications, all kinds of little dings and boings and boops that'll pop up and possibly be recorded in their microphone if you don't turn those off. So, walk them through that. Ask them, have you turned off all these kinds of things? You also want to turn off noisemakers that are not related to their computer. So like AC and heat. Printers. Just the other day I was on a recording with someone and their printer started printing because someone in the other room sent a job to the printer. You see what I'm saying? You got to think this through. What are the things in the room that you can ask them to turn off that will help you avoid getting sound interruptions in your recording? Noisemakers are an important step. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to walk you through on this tech check is helping them turn off what I call bandwidth hogs. These are things like Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, things like that are working in the background and potentially hogging bandwidth from their computer's memory or from their internet connection. Because if you're recording over a distance, you want to ensure that all of the energy of your computer, all the energy of your internet connection is going to your recording, not being used by other things. So you want to turn off or pause Dropbox. You want to turn off or pause Google Drive. You want to pause other things like OneDrive. I don't use OneDrive, so I'm not going to be able to show you how to do that. But you could probably Google that or YouTube that, how to pause OneDrive sync, and you'll get good instructions for that. You just want to walk that through. Now, let me show you real quickly through a quick screen share how to walk them through pausing Dropbox and pausing Google Drive. Okay, what I'm demonstrating for you here is on a PC. You will come over here to your system tray, go to the Dropbox icon, click on it, come up to your settings where your icon is up there, and just pause syncing. That's going to pause Dropbox. Now, you want to remember, you're going to walk your guest through this, and you want to remind them at the end of the recording session to reset their syncing on Dropbox. You just reverse this process and click resume. Now let's look at Google Drive. You're going to go here, back up and sync from Google Drive. You click on it and let it open. Go up to your three-dot menu and pause. Same thing. remind your guest to undo this pause after they're done with your recording.